Hi everyone, welcome to Fully Book Chats. This month of June, we are celebrating Read Asian as we put the spotlight on Asian stories, arts, and the culture. This afternoon, we will chat with the creators of the heartwarming and beautifully illustrated children's picture book When Lola Visits. My pleasure to introduce Michelle Sterling is an author, photographer, and speech language pathologist. She lives in Southern California. When Lola Visits is her first picture book. Find Michelle online at averyandaugustine.com. And then we also have Aaron Asis, a Filipino illustrator, best known for his use of vivid colors and expressive brushstrokes. Having illustrated a couple of children's books, he also aspired to create his own book one day. Let's all welcome Michelle and Aaron, the creators of When Lola Visits. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
How are you both?
Doing well.
Mabuti
How are
naman.
you?
So summer just ended here in the Philippines. It's the start of rainy season. Congratulations on your picture book. I love it so much. I think I cried the first time I've read this. Okay, so Michelle, why did you choose to write a story about how summer looks like for a kid?
That's a great question. Well, it all started one summer day, actually. I was in my kitchen and I walked past a bowl of peaches on the kitchen counter, and I could smell that they were ripening because they smelled sweeter than the day before. So that bowl of peaches inspired the story, basically. I thought about all the things that I loved about summer as a kid and the things that I still love now about summer. And I thought, could this be a story about a Filipino-American family? So that's what started the story.
Right. Is it somehow based on your own experience as a child when your Lola visits, or?
Some of it definitely is. So some of the story is inspired by memories that I had with my own Lola and, my family growing up. So my childhood memories. And then some of it is inspired by memories with my family now, my kids. And then some of it is inspired by things that I hope that we'll do together as a family in the future.
Right. I just want to say that the story and the illustrations, they matched accordingly. It is so atmospheric that it makes you feel really nostalgic about your own summer experience as a kid. Um, Michelle and Aaron, how was your creative collaborative process in creating this? Like, Michelle, did you identify first what you want readers to feel upon reading the story? And did you have specific scenes in mind and Aaron drew it, or was Aaron given the freedom to interpret and translate your words into illustrations? Who would like to share first the creative collaboration process?
I'll share a little bit first. So with most publishing houses here in the US, if you have two people working on the story, then the author will finish the manuscript or the story, and then will give the final version to the editor, and then usually the editor and art director will give the manuscript to the illustrator, and we'll meet and talk about maybe style or things like that. I don't know what they talk about since I'm never at that meeting.
Right.
So then basically, illustrator takes over at that point, and they're free to interpret however they're moved to. So, and then I'll let Aaron elaborate on that.
Go, Aaron.
Yeah, pag nasa kamay ko na ang manuscript, it's all up to me how I'm going to interpret or translate the words into illustrations.
Correct.
The story served as my springboard, so syempre, inspired dun yung colors, composition, character designs, and so on. Mabel, the children's book editor at HarperCollins, art directors Rachel and Amy, and of course Michelle, were there to help and guide me throughout the bookmaking process.
And this is all done via email, right? Or did you have like virtual meetings to talk about it?
Emails, puro
Email
emails
naman.
siya.
I love it. So, Aaron, how did you decide which art style to use to translate Michelle's story to illustrations? Is it something about the overall tone of how the story was written, or is it how you imagined it the first time you read the story?
Uh, usually kasi an illustrator is chosen for a book project based on his or her narrative and
Style.
illustrative style. So in terms of style, kung anong art style meron ako, yun na yung ginamit ko. Pero yun nga, everything is inspired by the story magmula sa visual composition hanggang sa overall look and feel ng illustrations. The story also resonates my childhood memories with my Lola. So kahit papaano, nilagay ko yung sarili ko at
Correct.
yung experiences ko sa illustrations.
Okay, get. So, parang main consideration when publishers choose for an illustrator is yung existing style of the artist na.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Aaron, what's the illustration from the book that you enjoyed the most creating? Meron ba?
One of my favorite parts of the book would be the Kamayan scene. Ng Kamayan. I
This
really
one.
enjoyed working on that because it's a full spread. Madaming space para sa illustrations. And it conveys a lot about the Filipino culture and tradition, how we are brought together by our love for food.
Correct.
And also, I love the end papers. The one pasted into the inside of the cover.
Which
The
one?
end papers.
Ito?
Ito.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
the end papers. First time I created illustrations for end papers, and I realized how important they are to how the readers would experience the book. You can actually tell a lot about the story by just looking at the end papers.
Correct. What's your usual process in creating art? Like, do you have any ritual before drawing?
At the early stage of the bookmaking process, I doodle a lot while reading the manuscript. Tapos I make thumbnails. Once approved, I proceed working on the final art, and then the illustrations were mostly done digitally. So, pero yung all my brushstrokes and textures are handmade.
Ganda.
So yun muna yung ginagawa ko. Tapos kako sila dinidigitize. Tapos binubuo ko sila sa computer. When it comes to ritual, parang wala na akong oras sa isang ritual.
Look at that. Wala.
I just do the work, and it's really important for me to take breaks.
Yeah, correct. Tama. Okay. How about you, Michelle? What's your favorite illustration? Or do you have any favorite scene from the story?
For sure. This is probably my favorite scene from the story, where the Lola and her granddaughter are picking calamansi from the backyard. Yeah, and then they make a calamansi pie, which and they're celebrating an American holiday, which is 4th of July. But the calamansi pie is kind of like it's based on an American dessert, but for me, it's like the coming together of two cultures. So like like the sweet, like creamy custard of the American pie, but made with Filipino ingredients. So like just the bright, rich, sour calamansi. So for me, like I I mean, like, I always go back to this. This is my favorite scene in the book. Like, you know, just like content wise, like narratively, like the words,
Right.
but also illustrations. Illustrations, like I out and you know, I felt like it was rather like innovative, you know, because you know, you have the trees here, and then they transition into night. And then the night is not, you know, it's not like a typical night. It's not like dark blue or black. It's, you know, dark green.
Right.
So I thought that was very like clever, like innovative, like use of color. And yeah, actually, and this is one of my favorite colors too. So that was a coincidence that, you know, I think it happened that way.
Right.
But so that's another reason why I love this game.
Yeah, I think the the scene that you really like is the scene that you can most relate to, I guess, because as for me, I really love this scene.
Oh, I love that scene too.
Yeah, the one where the Lola is talking about how the dad of the kid loves to eat the banana cue. In the Philippines, we call that banana cue, the brown sugar bananas, correct?
Right.
Um, so it's really also a good story about family. Why do you think it is important to tell stories like this? Celebrates familial love, introduces you to a different culture. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that it's always, you know, a great reminder, like family stories about family are a great reminder of like, you know, the joy that they are in our lives,
Right.
you know, and just like the beauty of family. But also, you know, I did want like for Filipinos living in America, you know, I wanted them to have a book that celebrated, you know, our culture. You know, there's so many Filipinos all over the globe living in other countries, you know, a huge Filipino diaspora. So I wanted a book for all of us, you know, whether we live in the Philippines or whether we live in the US or, you know,
Correct.
whichever country. And then for people who are not Filipino, I wanted them, you know, to see our culture and see Filipinos, you know, in the pages of a book. And I wanted them to see like just the warmth of Filipino culture and you know just I really think like you know our culture is such a warm like hospitable culture, like just such a loving culture and such a giving culture. And I feel like Aaron like really captured that in the illustrations. Like when I first saw them I was like oh my gosh, like this is it. I was like this is it. So
Did you
yeah.
cry?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I cried. I mean, like many times, actually reading, you know, different times reading it, because, you know, you have to kind of go through the
Right.
illustrations at different stages and like make sure all the words are there and, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure I cried almost several times, you know, like going through, like every time going, or not every time, but, you know, going through different times. Yeah.
You know what you said, that's so sweet and that's so true to our culture. And so thank you very much for telling that story, for introducing the Filipino culture, the family culture of the Filipinos. How about you, Aaron? Why do you think it's important to tell stories like this?
Thank you, Michelle. Um, well, isa sa mga values na kilala tayo mga Pilipino ay yung pagiging close natin sa ating kapamilya. And for me, it's worth, you know, celebrating para mas lalo pa nating mapagtibay at ma-appreciate yung pagmamahal natin sa isa't isa. It's also important to tell our own stories and show them who we are. And it's equally important to be exposed to other cultures and voices as well for us to appreciate and understand each other more.
Very well said. That's why we also do campaigns for Asian stories. So, you know, we can share our culture, we share our stories. I love how the summer experience, the visit of the Lola kid is associated with Filipino food here and how it brings together the family, how it becomes a huge part of the kid's summer. So A question from the book that I want you to answer. As a kid, how do you know that it is summer already?
Um,
Uh,
huh.
Go,
go ahead.
Michelle.
Oh, I guess just for me, just the smell of water on the pavement. So like when my dad would hose down the driveway, and the smell of the water evaporating off the pavement, that meant that it was very like warm weather, and
Right.
that for me always made it feel like summer.
Right. How about you, Aaron?
As a kid who grew up in the province, summer is here when we got to play a lot outside from
Sorry, you're
morning
from
to
Bicol,
evening.
right?
Oo,
Okay.
ng Bicol. Tapos tuwing
Yeah.
hapon, nagluluto yung lola ko ng merienda.
Sarap.
Nagluluto siya ng turon, kamote Q. Tapos kung minsan nagmagawa siya ng mango shake o kaya naman halo-halo. And I remember we always look forward to that.
Sarap. Kasi super init talaga ng summer sa Philippines eh. Kaya halo-halo is the answer. Michelle, have you ever eaten halo-halo?
I have, yeah, several times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's great. I would say it's very refreshing on a summer day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's play a little game before we end the Fully Book Chats. We've prepared a couple of lightning questions for you. So don't think too hard and maybe just give a quick explanation if you'd like, okay? Maybe Michelle can answer and then Aaron, we can do that way. Okay. So first, this or that. Okay. On reading books, paperback or hardcover?
For me, both.
Both. Okay, why? Can you explain?
Just so okay, so I like hardback because they last longer. But I like paperback because they're not as heavy, and when you take a book with you, it's just not as, it's lighter, a little heavy, not as heavy to bring with you. Yeah.
Aaron.
Hardcover. Mas mukha siyang special eh.
Mas maganda. Oo,
mas maganda.
At naka-hardcover to. The When Lola Visits is in hardcover. Okay. Reading one book at a time or multiple books at the same time?
Oh, multiple. Many. Yes.
Okay.
Same.
Ikaw, Aaron.
Same.
Okay. Bookmark or dog ear?
Oh, bookmark for sure.
Bookmark. How about you, Aaron? Dog ear.
Mas convenient. Hindi siya nahuhulog.
Correct. Do you feel offended by that, Michelle? Do you feel offended when someone dog ears the book, the page?
No, I'm just surprised. But I think I used to do that more when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah, but when my kids do that, I always tell them, oh, you need to use a bookmark so that the pages, last a little bit longer.
Right. To preserve the book.
Yeah, just because it goes through a little more wear with kids, they're throwing it around or whatever. So
that's true. Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, night owl for sure.
Okay. So do you usually write during the evening?
Yeah.
So maybe after this call, you will still write or do stuff, correct?
For sure, right. So what I do is I will because during the day I have like my kids to take care of and I have like other things to do.
Right.
So sometimes I will try to write during the day or I'll read during the day in order to like kind of prep for writing or to research for writing. But at the end of the day, what happens is I'll watch TV or something. And then after that, when it's really too late to be up, that's when I'll start writing because then the house is quiet and I can kind of think, because it's a little, with all the noise, it's, and everything going on, it's hard during the day. Yeah.
You have more time to focus and concentrate on your own thing. Yep. understood
For
and
sure.
can relate. How about you, Aaron?
Early bird.
Early
Oo,
bird.
yung natural light yung habol ko eh. Tapos mas marami akong energy sa umaga.
Gets.
Yeah.
About dun sa habol mo yung natural light. I guess it's for the
Mm-mm.
drawing, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, tama. Mas better mas
Iwas
accurate,
eye
ganon.
strain. Oo, saka mas
So,
accurate.
Okay. Thank you for that perspective. Okay, so can you share your the top 3 books you always recommend?
sure. I can actually, I pulled them off.
Wow,
But
thank you.
this is one. It's called The Read Aloud Handbook by
Mhm.
Jim Trelease, and he's a journalist in the U.S. And he talks about the benefits of reading aloud, of parents reading aloud to their children, and he cites some research. So I find myself recommending this a lot. Nate the Great is a chapter book series that was written a long time ago, but there are still ones coming out now. But I love this as an early chapter book, like a first chapter book for kids who are becoming fluent readers. So yeah. And then last one, because there's so many that I recommend, but
Yeah.
I discovered Doreen Gamboa Fernandez probably I would say 2, 3, 4 years ago. I'm not sure, but when I talk about Filipino food and like food culture and history with other people, I always mention this book and like her other works, which are harder to find in the U.S. But yes, this, yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your recommendations. We will definitely check that out. How about you, Aaron?
The Little Prince.
The Little Prince?
The Little Prince. Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami.
Okay.
100 Years of Solitude by Gabriela Garcia Marquez.
Right.
I love that one.
Yeah. Okay. So, top 3 favorite books by Asian authors or artists?
I would say there are so many.
Right.
But from this year, maybe just from published this year, Eyes That Kiss in the Corner by Joanna Ho and Jung Ho. Watercress by Andrea Wang and Jason Chin. And I Dream of Popo by Livia Blackburn and Julia Kuo.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Aaron?
Karapat Dapat. It's a book about children's rights by the members of ang Illustrator ng Kabataan. It is published by Canvas.
Right.
Pagkatapos ng Unos by Harry Munzon. It's a wordless picture book published by Adarna House. And Biyaheng Langit by Marcos Nada and Dulcin Nada it's a book about folk jeepney art that focuses on religious images.
Okay, thank you for those recommendations. Next is the top 3 best Filipino food for you, or your most favorite.
For sure. I mean, so many, but Pancit Palabok, or I don't know if you call it Pancit Malabon.
Pancit Malabon. Pancit Malabon.
I love leche plan too.
Yeah, leche plan.
Yes. I'm not sure for a third because there's so many. Oh, you know what? Turon is probably
Turon.
favorite.
Right. Sarap. How about you, Aaron?
Ano ba? Sisig.
Sisig.
Pinakbet.
Pinakbet. Ilocano food.
At ano pa ba? Palabok.
Palabok. So parang Aaron, you're fond of savory foods. And then Michelle, you're into noodles, I guess, because you love Pansit Malabon, Pansit Palabok, and then sweets,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes, I'm very into sweets. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I still have quick questions for you. Okay, for Aaron, favorite stuff to draw?
Uh, I like making portraits and nature-inspired themes and drawings.
Okay, for Michelle, who is your favorite author, or you can share a couple of your favorite authors?
When I was younger, my favorite authors were Beverly Cleary, and Lucy Maud Montgomery. So Anne of Green Gables, that series. Yeah, but I guess so many, but those are just a couple.
Yeah. Okay, for Aaron, who are your creative influences?
Nung nagsisimula pa lang ako bilang children's book illustrator, I love looking at the works of Serge Bumatay,
Okay.
Robert Alejandro, of course, Vincent Van Gogh, Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli as well, pagdating sa storytelling.
Yeah. Do you do animations as well, Aaron?
Hindi.
Okay. For Michelle, any advice you can give to aspiring writers, most especially in this uncertain times?
Sure. This is advice that many writers will give to aspiring writers, and it's to read as much as possible. Like read as many like genres and like types of books as possible. And I have to agree because that's sort of how you come up with your own ideas. To write from reading other people's work.
Right. And how about you, Aaron? Do you have any advice for aspiring artists, illustrators, those who want to illustrate for a picture book as well?
Ano ba? Mag-drawing lang sila na mag-drawing.
Correct. Practice lang.
Practice lang. And observe a lot. Parang ganun.
Correct.
Tapos, base lang sila ng base ng libro.
Correct. Okay. Thank you. So for our last question, I will ask the Fully Book signature question. Do you judge a book by its cover?
For sure. I think it's inevitable. Like it's hard not to. But maybe the cover is only one criterion of many for deciding whether or not you're going to like open the book or read the book. So you look at the cover, and if the cover draws you in, then yes, you open the book and you maybe read it right away. But if you see the cover, for me, if I see the cover and I kind of like it, I'll flip to the back to look at the synopsis and kind of go from there.
Right. Agree. Same. How about you, Aaron, as an artist?
Yes.
Yes,
The
very
cover
much.
the cover draws the reader's attention. So yun yung una nilang nakikita.
Correct.
So it should really be well designed.
True. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for your time, Michelle and Aaron, and to all who joined us today. Get your own copies of When Lola Visits at Fully Book branches and at www.fullybookonline.com. And don't forget, just for today, get this book at 15% off at www.fullybookonline.com. Click the link in the comments to purchase the book. Michelle and Aaron, thank you again. And to everyone, thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Discover Asian writing and art and support our campaign to read Asian. Keep on reading. Thank you.